Hi everyone, welcome to the Azure Security Expert series. My name is Albert Chu. I'm the Senior Product Manager in the Azure Security team. And today I'm joined by Dr. Teresa Yao. And she will be talking about intelligent application protection with the new Azure Front Door Premium. And as you have heard from Amit Srivastawa in the last session, we do have two different SKUs. And the Azure Front Door Premium really focuses on security. And so I would like to hand this time over to Dr. Teresa Yao.
Thank you, Albert. In this session, I'll walk you through security capabilities with Azure Front Door Premium. Azure Front Door Premium, as Amit and Sinead already presented to you, is a skill that combines application acceleration, caching, global load balancing with application protection. In this session, I'm going to focus on integrated security for web application and API protection. First, we have a pre-configured managed rule set that can protect your applications against OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, such as SQL injection and cross-site scraping type of attacks. We also have a very flexible custom rules engine that enable you to configure customized protection, for example, based on IP address ranges, geo filtering, as well as any combination of HTTP parameter filtering. We have a bot manager that allow you to manage automated traffic, protect you against automated attacks, and also allow good bot traffic through. Our platform has built-in DDoS protection. So if any attacks like UDP reflection attacks are absorbed by the platform, so your application will not see this kind of attacks at all. For logging, we have many different options. You can log it to your storage account or through Event Hub can stream to your own SIEM solution, or you can log it, use Log Analytics. We actually have a built-in insights on what kind of attacks were detected for your websites. We have integration with other native Azure services, such as Sentinel, Azure Monitor. You can use Azure Policy to enforce WAF policy. Like, for example, you can define Azure Policy to require every public-facing applications must have a web application firewall enabled. We have templates for you to do that. Also, by enabling web application firewall with Azure Front Door Premium to protect your public-facing applications will help you increase your secure score and improve your security posture. You can see that in Azure Security Center. Just as any other Azure services, the configuration of security configuration here is all API driven. So you can manage security configuration into your DevOps pipeline to help you with automation. There are some new capabilities that we are adding with Azure Front Door Premium. We are adding additional signatures from Microsoft Threat Intelligence to increase the coverage as well as reduce positives for our managed rule sets. We are introducing anonymous scoring as well as additional content type inspection, including JSON XML and multi-part body inspection. With Azure Front Door Premium, we are adding the capability to protect your origins that are hosted in private address space. You can build your application in your virtual network, let's say hosting your web applications in web servers inside your own virtual network. Then you can put an internal load balancer in front of it. Azure Front Door Premium can establish private link endpoints in the same region as your origin and connect to your origin through private link services. This way, your origin is not routable from internet. The only public-facing entry point is Azure Front Door, and it is protected by a web application firewall policy. The origins in private space can be virtual machines, IaaS based. It can also be a PaaS services. For example, web app or storage account in Azure. You can connect to those applications also through private link services. Of course, your origins can be in public space, can be hosted in Azure or on-premise. It could also be hosted in other clouds. To protect those origins, you can use a combination of IP address range and a specific header. Azure Front Door publishes its IP address range, use service tag, so you can always up to date to only allow the request coming from front door with your front door ID. So you know that application the traffic is actually coming from your front door. So your origin can be locked down, deny access from anywhere else. So in both private or public, you can protect your origins. To enable a web application firewall policy for the domains that are hosted on Azure Front Door Premium is very simple. On this slide, as you can see, it is very simple. You just enable a private link service. In this case, it's a web app. And then at the bottom there's WAF policy. You can create new if you don't have already. You can also choose one from the drop-down list if you already have a web application firewall policy predefined. To manage your web application firewall policy, you can go through the security tab within Azure Front Door Premium portal. From there, you will be able to get to the security page that shows you the association between web application firewall policy and the domain. And you can also link you to the web application firewall configuration page. There, you can look at the detailed definitions of the web application firewall policy. I'm going to walk you through a quick demo of how to add and change a web application firewall policy. Next, let me set it up. Okay, so this is a Azure Front Door Premium configuration I have set up here, and I have a domain set up here. And then if you go to the security tab here, as you can see, I don't have any WAF policies associated. So here, let's add a WAF policy. And then here, you can choose from a list of WAF policies. In here, I have one Front Door Premium WAF demo policy here. And then I'm going to link to the domain that I configured and add. And this will add the association of WAF policy to the domain. So now I have one that pre-configured. This is going to take a few minutes for the configuration to be deployed to all locations globally. So now I have one that I already linked. So here I go back to security policy. Here you can see this lists you a domain and the WAF policy name here. So now let's say we want to see what this policy is about. So I can go click, will link me to WAF policy configuration. In here, WAF policy can have different settings. At the policy setup, you can set your WAF in detection or prevention mode. In detection mode is log only, we don't take any actions. In prevention mode, we will take actions. And you can configure some global settings here. For example, you can configure a customized response. Sometimes you don't want the attacker to know it's the request is blocked by a web application firewall, you can actually go ahead and change into a, let's say, for example, 200 OK. In this particular case, I'm leave it as default. So you will see a false read denied message if it's blocked by firewall. So now in WAF here, in the manage rules, in this case, I have choose both our bot manager here, as well as our default rule set against OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. In bot space, you can see there are 3 different categories. They are malicious bots. Those malicious bots are based on IP reputation powered by Microsoft Threat Intelligence, or they can be the bots they are trying to fake their identities. For example, if a request comes, claim it is a search engine bot from Bing, but we look it up, the IP address actually does not belong to the published IP address range for Bing search engine, then we'll flag this particular request is a malicious bot. So that's the first category. We also have the category that is the search engine. You actually want to allow those requests to come through because it helps you increase your ranking. So that for those bots, we actually allow the traffic goes through. And then we have a pretty big category of the requests that we know they are automated, but their intent is not determined. So here you have the option to log this request for further analysis. For Microsoft default rule set here, I want to bring your attention to the first few. The first few, the rule ID is started with 990. This set of rules are created also by Microsoft Threat Intelligence team. Our security analyst is looking into new attacks landscape and create the rules to protect your applications from those attacks. So this is in the managed rule set. You can create exclusions if your specific application has a pattern that may trigger a false positive, like SQL injection. You can create exclusion saying for this particular application, I will allow them. So you can say, you can create match conditions. Say, if you know a particular cookie or header name that has a specific pattern that should be allowed, you can do that through exclusion. Customer rules for WAF, you can define customized protection to protect your application. For example, I configured a very simple block US for a particular page for my demo. If you are coming from US, it is blocked. So a quick demo here. This is my demo site. It's just a simple website. So now if you go to this contact page here, it says the request is blocked and give you a string. This is the default behavior. The string here is actually unique. It can help you if your end user reports it's blocked, you can use this string to figure out exactly what happened to that particular request. So here is what that WAF geo-blocking rule does for you. Anyway, so that's kind of a quick tour on how do you configure your web application firewall policy. So if I go back to my front door that is created here, you will have a analytics. Here, there's the security analytics can show you what happened for this website in the past. You can define the duration of the report. Then you can see, I'll move here. It can show you how many attacks received in the past duration. This is, let's say, for past hour. And then it tells you whether it was a managed rule set, was it belong to bot, or is the customer rules has blocked it. So you can also give you more details. You can tell you exactly which rule ID. For example, it tells you this is a unknown bot ID, and then this is a SQL injection attack. So it's going to give you further information. On the summary, you can dive into individual requests if you want to. So that is the overview on the report side. That's it for the quick tour of the security capabilities with Azure Front Door Premium. Back to you, Albert.
Thank you, Teresa, for such great insights about the Azure Front Door Premium. Now, we do have time for a couple of questions, and we have a couple of questions from the floor. The first is, how does Azure Front Door leverage Microsoft Threat Intelligence?
Yes, Albert, Microsoft Threat Intelligence is the key to enable our capabilities for Azure Front Door Premium. In our bot protection solution, Microsoft Threat Intelligence feeds combines the signals from managing Microsoft global services such as Windows, Office, SQL, and Bing with the third-party providers' signatures as well. We actually dynamically update our IP reputation dataset every hour. In addition, security analysts from Microsoft Threat Intelligence team also actively look out at the threat landscape, create rules against new attacks. So it's our managed rule set for common attacks. Signatures get refreshed as well to protect your web applications and APIs from new type of attacks.
Thank you, Teresa. I think the second question we have is, does Azure Front Door have any dashboard for me to monitor cyber attacks on my applications?
Yes, Azure Front Door Premium have built-in analytics. You can see the traffic report as well as security attacks report. In the built-in report, you are able to see the distribution of the traffic, where are the top attack types it matches, whether it's a part of the bot attacks or part of the customer rules that capture those attacks. In addition, you can also see the top countries where the attacks are from, the top URLs, top user agent. So give you a quick view of overall attack distribution.
Thanks, Teresa. The third question we have from the floor is, does Azure Front Door Premium feed any data to Azure Sentinel?
Yes, Albert. Azure Front Door WAF logs can be stored in customer storage accounts or go through event hubs that can stream to customers' own SIEM system or can be sent to Log Analytics. Log Analytics feeds the data into Azure Sentinel. Azure Sentinel have native WAF connectors, so you can easily aggregate your events from different applications, make it a central place to connect all the WAF events. In addition, we also have built-in workbooks. Over there, you can easily have a dashboard that shows your security events from WAF, as well as other security applications such as firewall. So in the central place, use Azure Sentinel. You can have a global view of attacks insights from all applications for your org.
Thank you, Teresa. It is really important to have Azure Front Door feeding all this into Azure Sentinel so that our customers are able to collect this log and investigate any cybersecurity breaches. Well, that's all the time we have today. I'd like to thank you for spending the time with us and watching this session. Make sure that you check all the other sessions as well, as you'll get a lot more information about Azure Front Door as well as Azure Firewall Premium. Okay, for now, thank you and have a nice day. Goodbye.